there's my little angle iron there to hold the bottom of the battery box. This is all welded up solid. And what I did, I put another square in the back there. This one here I don't have to worry about. It's welded all the way along. But now this has got a good solid brace on both sides for the tank. And I have a flat surface here. So what I can do is make a little floor pan. Let me see if I can find a piece here. You can see my cardboard there. I can put this, doesn't have to be very thick, just even piece of aluminum. And it'll go from one side of the frame over to the other side. Probably just put a couple screws in it even to hold it up, and that'll keep the the bottom good. So I got two straight pieces all the way across there. I can screw one into this frame going across, and the other one into the tank bracket. That'll seal that all up. And of course the floorboard will seal up that, so I shouldn't really have any water or anything come in there. So that'll make a pretty nice trunk bottom. You're really not going to see much of it because the tank's going to be sitting on top of it. And the corners are sealed here. Well, kinda. But anyway, that tin will go all the way to the frame, and that'll seal this whole thing up. And then once I get that floorboard in it, that should stop all of this back stuff, any air or anything coming through it. Water splashing up. But that's a project for another day. I've got quite a bit of aluminum out there, like foot wide pieces, 8 feet long. So it won't be much trouble at all to fabricate a splash pan for this. So I'm going to go ahead and blow all this dust out of here. It's already been rust coated and under sealed, and I actually painted that side there with blue paint. So I'm gonna just paint up all this rusty iron and metal in here. Get this looking good. And then after it dries a while, I'll go ahead and install this. So this will be kind of a pretty major part of the project. Just to get this all, the tank and battery box in there and cleaned up. Well, I've got this product here. It's called Super Clean. They sent me a couple bottles of it. I did a video for them some time ago, and it works really good on grease and stuff. But what I'm going to try it on here is all this in here. Now I blew this out as much as I could with a with an air gun. The reason it looks white is because there's primer overspray on it. But I'm gonna hopefully spray this all in here, and it's pretty good soap, and I do have quite a bit of grease on it for sure. I got some on that rear end, but I'm just going to spray this stuff in here, get it good and wet, and then I'm just going to blow it off with a spray gun. I already know that it'll clean up stuff good where paint will stick, and we're going to see if it'll do anything on this Bondo dust. Well, I sprayed all this down good with it. You can see already there now it's sort of picked up that blue paint that I put in here before. I got it all washed down. I don't really have a hose in here. I'd have to spray it with water. I guess I could do that. That would probably make it work a lot better. And I have this old jerry can thing I've made up here. I ground most of the paint off of it, but I'm gonna Rust-Oleum that thing too. At least if I can get the bottom done, I can put it in and then do the top. So got it sprayed down good. Now I'm just going to try to blow it out with an air gun and see what it does. Seem to be cleaning it pretty good, even with just air. I'm going to blow the rest of this out, and I'm going to wipe it with a rag and see if I can get some of this out. Well, here it is, all painted black. It's a semi-gloss. It looks pretty glossy right now, but it's still kind of wet. That super clean worked pretty good. Usually it's a lot of trouble to try to get paint to stick to new metal without sanding it, but it cleaned it up real good. You can see on that back bar there, took all that light grease off of there, and it worked real good on the rear end here. But anyway, this is pretty much painted. Ooh, I see a place back in there I missed. Yeah, right there on top of the frame. And I poured this on pretty good. Hopes it'll run down in the cracks, but looks good. Looks a lot better than did all covered with Bondo dust. I still have to clean that rear end up, paint it, but it looks like I can get in there and clean and paint this inside of the frame up too while I'm at it. I'm going to let this dry before I try to get in there and do that. But the frame here is all painted. Pleased with that. Well, the paint turned out real nice. It's a nice black semi-gloss, real good. There's my the battery tray. I've got a brace under the corner of it there to hold it up. All the black turned real good, and so I dug out my blue paint that I had, and I painted all the inside of the car good with it. Looks pretty good against black. I think that's semi-gloss too. I don't remember. Might have been gloss. The black that I mixed in it was semi-gloss. But it's all in, bolted down. None of this is ever going to rust. And I can get up there and paint the front of this pretty easy now. I'll go ahead and put my tank in and see what we got. Now there's a battery in, and I started routing the cable, and the first of my design flaws start showing up. This cable's probably 3.5 feet short. Got it coming down the frame good, going along here. When I cross over, that's the end of it, and I got to go all the way up there, so that's about 4 feet. So the other thing, I got a 3/8 eye in that, and got a 5/16 bolt on a starter up here. I think I was maybe, I don't know what I was thinking, but I lost about 2 foot there at least, raising that battery up. I might have been thinking when I measured it, I'd put the battery there and not in the trunk. Anyway, it doesn't make any difference. I need another 4 foot of battery cable. I've got some big heavy cable around here somewhere, probably about 6 foot. This is really big stuff, 2 gauge or something. But it's you jump in the battery that far, you try not to get any voltage loss. It's probably way overkill. I don't much care. I'll have a good electric. I think what I'll do is put get another eye to eye, 3/8 to 5/16 or whatever it is, and just bolt those two together right there. And I may make some kind of a terminal block or something, bolt it here on the frame, and then a straight shot from here up to the starter. And I can also take my main hot wire off of this terminal and run it up under the dash here And that way I'll have just a single clean wire here on the starter. Well, I'll need the solenoid, but that way I can do all of the main hot wire wiring and harness and stuff under it. I will need one wire out here for the alternator. Fuel temperature and oil, or temperature sending unit, oil pressure. I'm not going to have electric fans in it, so I won't have to worry about wiring that. And all the rest of the electrical can come down out of the dash. I'll probably put the fuse block on this side, and that way I can just run the wires up here on the inside of the frame. And then up under the fender. Not sure. I'm going to try to hide most of the wires, but it's time I start thinking about these electrics, because I'm going to have to figure out some way of routing them and hiding them. You know, even though it's got nothing to do with the paint, it kind of does. I've got a good electrical wiring harness for it, one of those easy wires or something, 10 circuits, something like that. That'll be enough for this thing. Then I'll have to get in here and build me some kind of panel, and my gauges will go there in the center. I won't have a fuel gauge in the cluster, but I will be able to get the oil and temperature and something else. I'll be able to get those in, and then I'm going to run a good temperature and oil, or the oil pressure gauge I'm sure is good, but I'm going to run another temperature gauge, and I might have to put another speedometer in it. I don't know how accurate this one's going to be. Anyway, my first design fault here. Nothing I can't care with just buying another piece of wire. Well, there it is in all its glory. I just used a piece of cardboard there around the tank. Went in there real nice. This blue paint dried up nice. Looks pretty good inside there. And this negative battery cable here, I'm going to put a bolt sticking down. You kind of see the end there. But this bracket, so the bracket's right there, and I can just weld a good big nut on there, or not a nut, a bolt. I got to take this battery tray out again. I might be able to weld it up in there without doing that. I could weld one here on the outside. I don't want to do that. I'd rather run this up in here like that. Weld it on there, and that's all welded into the frame. The other thing would be to try to put it up in here somewhere. And I'm going to have a floor across there covering up that. So this will keep it above the floor. It'll make it look pretty good. I might be able to make it look a little better by running this over here like this. Yeah, see that took it all up under there. Still giving me plenty of room to get it out. Don't really like the fact that this is kind of big. I'll probably put some kind of a spacer in there. Probably push it all the way forward. Well, I'll just coat it with rubber. So that'll look good. It'll all be solid and tight, not bouncing around. I'll still have to figure me out some kind of a mount for the tank. But all in all, looks nice. You can kind of, you know, the blue will be very close to that on the outside. So now I have to figure me out some way of making a nice looking trunk in here. I've got one piece of plywood. I think it's big enough to go all the way across there. I'll see what I can do, but that'll clean up the end of this. A lot of little details still. I haven't even opened up any paint yet. Today I'm going to get this splash panel off of here. It bolted onto the frame with bolts through it, and of course now I boxed that frame, so I'm going to have to make a bracket, probably a 90 that comes up, and cut this off, drill some holes in it, and it'll have to slide onto a bracket and go down and bolt. And I've got to fix this chewed up part here, brace it and weld it. So I don't know why that's not closing. I got a piece of metal in it. So I have to get that running board off there, and it's got to be painted on the bottom. So I'll get that off and see what it looks like. All that running board was kind of forced in here. Just looking at them, looks like this front one's been back. I don't know what's wrong with these. The bottom of it here it looks pretty straight. I'm gonna have to get a square on it, and I'm pretty sure this front one's got to go forward quite a bit. I can put a big square bar in there and clamp it and bend it. That should be able to do that. Well, I got this piece all wire brushed off good, and I'll use that Rust-Oleum on it. It's not sticking real good for some reason. I don't know if that was the coating on that metal. It sticks real good where it was rusted, but not so good anywhere else. I'm just going to let it set up here and dry for a while I work on that piece, and then I'll hit it with another coat. The piece is kind of chewed up right there in the bottom. I can put a little bracing on that. Actually, not too bad. It's right there in the corner. And this is the main problem right here. I can brace this pretty good. I've got a couple places here, but I'm gonna have to make another quarter piece here. Looks like this was, yeah, that was in a bracket. So the other one's in pretty good shape, so I think I can get me a piece of sheet metal and bend that straight. Weld me some patches in. I'm not gonna try to patch it per se. I'm just gonna weld a good piece on the back, and I've still got my holes here where the bolts go, so I'll just try to strengthen it up as much as I can with a plate on the inside. This one here, I've got a good corner, so I should be able to make one patch across there good enough. We'll press on this. Well, I just cut me a plate and clamped it to a vise around a piece of pipe here and bent it. I don't know how much I need or anything, but once I'll check it out, and then I'll probably remount it to finish up the bend. Oh, camera just survived a drop on the floor. Right onto the cement. Anyway, I've got this clamped on there and I marked it. I was thinking about trying to cut it and weld it at the same time, but I think I'll be better off just cutting this thing off of here. I got a pretty good mark. Yeah. And I'll stay on the inside of the cut. So that's all pretty decent across there. I should have ground it back a little further. I'll do that once I cut it. But cut that off and cleaned up, and then we'll try to tack weld it in. Well, here's the inside edge. I got this all welded good in here. Worked real good up here in this double place, but it was kind of burning through here, but I did get it welded. This was ripped loose, but I got it fixed up. See, this one here turned out real nice. A little fill will fix it. This is really rusted and twisted here. It goes up into this double piece. So I'm going to make another piece that's 3 holes long. You know, like a 1-inch strip across there. But this all looks good, so I'm going to mix up some fiberglass, throw in here over these wells, and I'll continue cleaning this up and get ready to weld the rest of it. Well, sorry about that. I did some work without you. I just cut me a piece of metal here. I just framed it according to the, you can see what it looks like there. And I didn't try to make a pretty patch or anything. I just put it in there and kind of beat it out flat. I put some fiberglass on it. I'll let that dry just a little, and I'll throw some here on the back side. Not because appearance or anything, just to kind of seal those welds up. And so that's all good up there on the front. I strengthened a little with that fiberglass. This middle part, it wasn't rusted out, and I need to put a little round corner patch back there in the back. But all of this is all cut down. It fits good. My bolt holes all line up. It's nice and straight now. It was kind of bent before. And I just determined where my bolt holes are going to go. That mark right there is where the thing's going to cover it up. So these 3 or 4 holes here, I need to weld them up. Used a lot of rod to try to fill a big old hole like that. Maybe I could, I don't know, put a little bolt in there and pull it, and then weld that bolt in and cut it off with a cut-off tool. That'd probably be a pretty good way to do it, especially on the oblong holes. But once I get this welded up, then I can finish doing a little bundle work. Again, like always, took a long time. This was don't seem like much to weld in one patch in a day, but it was quite a bit. Mostly because I had to put it on and off, on and off, on and off, and make sure my bolts were matching, and you know, cut me a place here for this. And so that's all pretty much done. I gotta open this up just a little right there, and I wanted to round this corner off right here, but that's gonna fit over the frame real nice, and it's all real straight here. That bottom part is supposed to have edge on it. Most of it's all rusted off here in front. I didn't figure I'd put one on it. I'd give it a little strength, but it's bolted into that big old long back of the fender. And then once it gets past the fender, it starts bolting into the running board about right here. And the running board turned out real nice. It's a flat black, second coat of paint, stuck real good. And so I won't have any trouble with this side. So it's coming along. Like Rat Rod Bob says, we're getting it, just ain't got it yet.